honesty, I suppose. Yeah, it is a difficult spot in front of a jury to have someone on the other side who you feel is drawing you into constant objections. Because in a sense, if you keep a logical course of questioning, so it's a real art to figure out when do I just sit down and let it play out, when do I not? What I'm hearing from the report is that the judge is not being a particular activist about shutting down the defense across. If that's the case, you got to read the room as a prosecutor and wait for just a few times where it's really critical to object. You know, assault and sexual assault are not predicate crimes for RICO. This is charged with racketeering, influence, corrupt organization, the entity being all of Sean Combs' businesses and himself. So it's legally permissible, but kind of factually tricky. I think what this is building to, believe it or not, is a witness is not a victim. It's building towards an expert on human trafficking and sex trafficking to explain why someone like Mia would stick around, why Mia would still have this misplaced allegiance years later. And they're going to put it in the context of the psychological control that happens in human trafficking cases. So I think that's going to be a real interesting battle down the road, is who comes in to tie these crimes together that are not actual RICO predicates, but will come together as a human trafficking or sexual trafficking.
Although the force aspect of violence does go into the force of sex trafficking too, so they kind of have that out. But
right, but not the assault, not the rape per se. It's got to be, part of the bigger picture.
Right. And the sex trafficking depends on whom the victim's actually supposed to be for the sex trafficking. They spent the first few weeks of this case saying that it was Ms. Ventura, when to me it was always kind of obvious that there were others who they could probably get a better case out of. But I agree. Where's the beef is what we're going to need to know. If they're trying to use the expert that you think that they're going to use, I think that's a huge problem, because they're trying to put, again, someone on the stand to explain why people did things that they haven't evaluated, that they weren't treating. Tried to explain why Ms. Ventura would do things or not do things when she hadn't spent a day treating her, hadn't done an evaluation of her. That's highly unreliable, and juries are not dumb.
Yeah, on that, I disagree with the expert, because I'm actually was one of the first prosecutors in D.C. to use a domestic violence expert. As long as the expert isn't opining on the ultimate issue and saying this was, wrong legally, I think it gives you a very good framework as a prosecutor to fit in the behavior of the witnesses and possibly explain this question of why didn't you, whatever.
It's fascinating to see the prosecution and someone with prosecutorial experience take one side and the defense take the other. I wonder what you make of what Jim was describing about the difficulty in pushing a RICO case forward. You have cell phones being stolen, your cars being tracked, allegations of which. Does that not rise to the level of coercion? Does that not get them closer to a RICO case?
Right now, it's all kind of sounding like throw everything against the wall and see how much you can get to stick. It's not coming out like some organized common scheme of plan. It's not sounding, RICO cases are hard to prove anyway. And when you have a circumstance like this, where a jury may very well be looking and thinking the domestic violence is horrible, this is not anybody's great guy. They may detest the defendant, but they may not see that as the same thing as a criminal enterprise. They may think this is a horrible domestic violence relationship, and that this is a person who was a cruel boss. And those two things can be true without there being a RICO at the end of the line.
It's true, but a very challenging closing argument for a defense attorney, because you've got, by that point, there may be this critical mass of people being dangled out windows, sexual assaults, obstruction, horrible things. You get to a point, you stand up in closing, and you go, yeah, that's kind of all true, but it doesn't add up to a RICO. That's a tough argument. Doesn't mean it's not. It's available for sure. We're going to hear it for sure. But it's a tough fight by that point of the trial.
It depends on your jury. It depends on how many people they've dangled out of windows, how many times they've been obsessed lovers who are running down the middle of the street trying to keep their wife from leaving. You have to figure out what you have as a jury in order to know what they're going to do.
If you ask questions during jury selection, how many of you have dangled somebody out the window?
Yeah, and the answer honestly.
I do wonder what you all make of victim number 3. This is someone that was set to testify. They're not going to testify, even as we've seen other witnesses come forward and make clear that they are only testifying because they're under subpoena. What's going on with victim number 3?
Well, it's hard to speculate what's going on with them. As a prosecutor, I wouldn't be too worried about that if I portrayed this atmosphere of people being really scared and intimidated. And I just kind of let that speak for itself. And going back to the point about the closing aspect of it too, I think if this trial continues to play out this way, you've got all this really explosive kind of evidence. The job for the prosecutor at the end is to stay pretty dispassionate. Don't rely too much on emotion. Explain how the charges and the elements are met by this evidence, and don't rely too much on that explosive aspect, because that's where you get into trouble.
Appreciate all of you. Thanks so much for the conversation.
Good to see you.
Still plenty more news to come this hour. Charges of a hate crime in Colorado. Police revealing the suspect plotted a heinous attack for over a year. Tonight we're learning it actually could have been far worse. What's he on law enforcement's radar? Not why. We're going to discuss that and more. Colorado's Attorney General. Next.
On the season finale of My Happy Place,
There's something about
Simu Liu finds wonder in Bangkok.
bottoms up. Let's do this. I would like a beverage.
My Happy Place with Simu Liu, Sunday at 10 on CNN.
Both gutters can cause big problems fast. Until now, Ollie, bring the filter today for your free gutter inspection.
I had terrible flooding problems on my porch. Now I understand why.
Right now, the filter is offering a free inspection on your schedule. It's a permanent gutter system, so you never have to worry about costly again. Clogged gutters and call us today and schedule a free inspection. Schedule your free inspection. Only free refilter today. This is hilarious four-star adventure. Take a delicious concoction. You're drunk. And the funniest movie of the year. Focus on Tiger, the Phoenician Schemes. Rated PG-13.
Would you like to take for me?
They did try to get this in.
Come on, let's weigh and pay and go home.
I want you to imagine waking up tomorrow. How do you feel?
New assistant.
Hey Google, find me an alternate route. Because you decide the outcome.
And a must-win game.
No, we decide the outcome.
And a engine and a car that always wins.
I want you to imagine waking up tomorrow.
The all-new 2025 Equinox in Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
What is that musky smell? Oh, damn! Damn! Oh, damn!
Hey, language. Yes, traps excess moisture to eliminate musky smell. Get rid of the damn. It's damn rid.
Body hundreds, severe throat symptoms kept me out of the picture. Now I have Sky Rizzy.
I'm back in the picture. Feel significant symptom relief at 4 weeks with Sky Rizzy, including less abdominal pain and fewer bowel movements. Sky Rizzy helped visibly improve damage of the intestinal lining. And with Sky Rizzy, many were in remission at 12 weeks, at 1 year, and even at 3 years. Don't use allergic. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and TB. Tell your doctor about any other symptoms or vaccines. Liver problems leading to hospitalization may occur when treated for Crohn's or UC. Ask your doctor about Sky Rizzy, the #1 prescribed biologic in Crohn's disease. Sky Rizzy is also approved for ulcerative colitis.
Do it all with Steel batteries. Don't miss Steel deals. Now is the best time to save big on over 40 hardworking Steel tools. Hurry into your local Steel dealer or shop online.
In this family, there has to be drama.
Going down.
It's what makes us us.
Hey, son, before you get married, we need to have the talk.
Not right now, Dad. I need to go to my house. Is L. Duncan going to talk to me about...
Setting a budget when you bet. I heard that you won that long shot parlay, but that you haven't won since. Just because you win big once doesn't mean you figured it all out.
Still need to have that talk about.
Celebrating love. That is what today is all about. At ESPN, we believe the best play is a smart play.
Jim Gaffigan, a lot of plays for her, Jr. and Justice Stephen.
are not funny.
What?
They're hilarious.
You know it's not a good joke when you have to explain it.
Playing stand-up specials, now streaming. George Clooney and Broadway's Good Night and Good Luck, live Saturday at 7 on CNN.
We have to warn you, the images you're about to see are disturbing. A horrific scene unfolding during a peaceful pro-Israel demonstration on Sunday for the hostages still in Hamas captivity, when 45-year-old Mohammed Sabri Solomon drove to downtown Boulder with a homemade flamethrower and Molotov cocktails. The suspect yelling "Free Palestine" as he tossed the incendiary devices into the crowd. 12 people were injured in the attack. 2 of them remain hospitalized. Law enforcement says that the suspect acted alone and that only one thing kept him from attacking sooner: his daughter's high school graduation.
Mr. Solomon stated that he had been planning this attack for a year. And when he was interviewed about the attack, he said he had no regrets and he would go back and do it again. He said that he had previously tried to purchase a firearm, but resorted to the Molotov cocktails when he could not purchase a gun because he was not a legal citizen.
Officials have charged Solomon with a federal hate crime, and he could now face life in state prison on 16 counts of attempted murder in the first degree. With me now, Colorado Attorney General Phil Weiser. Sir, thanks so much for sharing your evening with us. The federal government is confident they can prosecute the suspect with a federal hate crime charge. They've not charged him, though, with terrorism. Do you share that confidence?
This has every single marking you can imagine about a hate crime. The individual knew the people he was targeting. He knew they were Jews. He knew they were there because they were peacefully demonstrating against the injustice of hostages in Gaza who've been there now approaching 2 years. He planned it over a long period of time, and it said, according to the federal arrest warrant, that the goal was to kill as many people as possible. He knew who the people were there. So that's every harm-making of a hate crime. In federal law, there are complications about when you might prosecute someone as acting as a terrorist. We're focusing in Colorado on state law. There are also state law charges here, including attempted murder. You add all this up, this individual is going to be held to account to the fullest extent of the law.
Now, I actually spoke with a member of the community earlier today who said that though they never expected violence at these walks, the group had become accustomed to being heckled. I also understand that certain tensions over the war in Gaza reportedly started to boil over at city council meetings. You're the top law enforcement officer in Colorado. How do you plan to tamp down growing hostility there?
What I am very much working towards, and what I believe is the opportunity, is for people to see this act as the ugly face of anti-Semitism, to see this act as a warning sign. When you escalate demonization, when you justify harassment, even violence, this is what it can lead to. We all need to take a look in the mirror and say, this sort of political violence is unacceptable. We all have to condemn it. When people want to change public policy, they engage in dialogue and the democratic process. Violence, harassment, name-calling, demonization, this is something we're seeing too much of. It's got to stop.
Who do you think needs to be held accountable for some of that rhetoric? And I should note, you are a Jewish elected official. You've said that this attack is personal to you. As you reflect on the rise in anti-Semitic crimes across the country, where does that accountability over some of the rhetoric directed toward Jewish people begin?
It's worth setting the stage. Before October 7th, there were more hate crimes against Jews than any other religious group, and that's by a considerable amount. In the 2023 to 2024 cycle, if you will, after October 7th, we saw a 40% increase in Colorado in anti-Semitic incidents. Obviously, the rhetoric in the wake of October 7th has turned to a range of actions towards Jews that are hateful, that are targeting people because of who they are, We've heard about some of the activities on college campuses where chants are go back to Poland or other, again, hateful and in some cases vandalizing. In some cases, people are being actually physically targeted. We need to take a look in the mirror at this range of behavior that's targeting people because who they are. And what America promises, and this was from George Washington, who wrote a letter to Rhode Island Synagogue, is this is a nation where bigotry has no sanction, where everyone can live safely under their own vine and fig tree. That's what every American deserves. That's what we have to work towards.
I do want to ask you about claims from some in the administration. DHS says that the suspect was in the United States illegally. He apparently had overstayed a work visa that was issued under the Biden administration. President Trump is squarely blaming his predecessor's policies for this attack. To what extent do you think Democrats are responsible?
This is not a helpful conversation to call this a Democratic or Republican issue in terms of responsibility. This is an American issue, and we all as Americans owe the following to one another. If you hear something about someone planning an attack, and this attack was planned over a very long period of time, then please say something. It's serious. There's someone who's in critical care whose life hangs in the balance. There are 12 people who were injured in a fire attack that's going to leave not just physical damage, but psychological damage. Everyone has to say, what's my part in making our nation a nation where everyone can feel safe and where no one, because of who they are, Jewish, non-Jewish, what have you, has to worry about being targeted.
Attorney General Phil Weiser, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Let's continue the conversation now with former Chief of Homeland Security and Intelligence for the Government of D.C., Donnell Harvin. Donnell, thanks for joining us. So this suspect had been planning this for about a year, though the Boulder Police Department said that he wasn't on the radar, on their radar. Should he have been?
Well, that happens a lot, and you hear this all the time. He's considered a lone actor. Lay people call them lone wolves. If they're not communicating their threats to anybody, then he is completely off the radar. And so what they're doing right now, part of the investigation, is they're looking at any leads that they may have gotten that may have been ignored, any threats that may have made online or individuals to individuals in person, to kind of run that down. But it is very plausible.
I also wonder about the fact that the suspect's family has been cooperative. He allegedly left behind a phone with messages to his loved ones at home, a phone that his wife actually turned over to police following his arrest. What do you make of all of that?
You know, this individual, based on that, his family's probably taken aback. I mean, he went to his daughter's graduation. They're probably shocked. They probably didn't see this coming. You know, a lot of people are radicalized, but not everybody mobilizes to violence. And so while people have very vociferous and very outspoken views on different things, mobilizing the violence really takes a degradation of someone's moral character, and they may not have seen that coming.
I'm also fascinated by the fact that he had tried to obtain a gun. He went and, I believe, obtained a firearms license and took lessons, but he couldn't because he's not a legal resident of the United States. Is this a case where the system worked to prevent this from being much worse than it could have been?
Absolutely. I mean, that was clearly a soft target. Fortunately, law enforcement got there pretty quickly, but you can imagine how much damage he would have been able to do if he had a semi-automatic weapon. Understand that most active shooter incidents are over in 30 seconds. And so had he had a gun, he could have killed people.
I also wonder, because you mentioned soft target, and this is a weekly walk that's been taking place now for a couple of years, so somebody could have easily observed it. I also think about what happened here in D.C. a few weeks ago outside the Jewish Museum, these workers for the Israeli embassy getting shot in cold blood. Is there such a thing as a soft target anymore for attacks like this? Because it seems like they're happening just about anywhere.
Well, everything's a soft target at this point, right? And so, I was here almost 2 weeks ago talking about that D.C. attack. That was an embassy staff. You would think they'd have more security. You know, these are individuals that are peacefully protesting, and sure, there were probably police, law enforcement, but there was no active threat. They'll probably find out. No one was making active threats. This is a regular occurrence. And so, the Jewish community is completely under attack at this point. I mean, you heard the Attorney General say it. The statistics are even worse nationwide. The Jewish population makes up about 2.7% of the United States citizens. Yet in 2023, the FBI logged almost 70% of hate-related crimes were targeting towards that small population. And so, everyone needs to be on alert.
Still had our eyes and ears in a trial against Sean Diddy Combs. Sketch artist Christine Cornell on how Diddy was acting during today's intense cross-examination and how the jury was reacting too. And later, President Trump says he won't rule out a pardon for Diddy. 50 Cent, because he's going to try to bend Trump's ear to convince him otherwise. Who's going to win this potential effort to get Diddy pardoned? Plus, one of Trump's former attorneys and the man that Diddy originally wanted on his defense team, Joe Tacopina, standing by for more on that.
I am visiting my town, the town of Longoria, in Asturias. Oh, that's nice. Es mi favorito plato de España.
Angola is a hidden gem, full of potential. We look forward time and time again, now and in the future. Angola awaits.
Ned's excited for his big date, but he's wondering.
What if a flaky plaque throws me off my game?
What if Ned knew he could treat differently?
Otezla is the #1 prescribed pill to treat plaque psoriasis. Otezla can help you get clearer skin and reduce itching and flaking. Doctors have been prescribing Otezla for over a decade. Don't use Otezla if you're allergic to it. Get medical help right away if you have trouble breathing or swallowing, swelling of the face, lips, tongue, throat, or arms. Severe diarrhea, nausea or vomiting, depression, suicidal thoughts, or weight loss can happen. Tell your doctor if any of these occur and if you have a history of depression or suicidal thoughts.
With clear skin, Ned's movie night could be a groovy night. Live in the moment. Ask your doctor about Otezla. Scan to learn more.
What you doing, Zach?
I'm rehearsing for our T-Mobile home internet commercial. You gotta talk really fast.
T-Mobile home internet ranks #1 in customer satisfaction for home wireless internet.
Wow, you're good. Get T-Mobile home internet, just $35 a month with our 5-year price guarantee. The lips, the tip of the teeth, the tongue, the lip.
If you are living with HIV, do chase a dream. Do consider how you stay undetectable. Do learn what's different about Dovato. Dovato is a complete HIV treatment for some people. Do find out how many medicines are in your pill. Most HIV pills contain 3 or 4 medicines. Dovato is as effective with just 2. No other complete HIV pill contains fewer medicines than Dovato.
It is unknown if Dovato is safe and effective if you have HIV and hepatitis B. If you have Hep B, don't stop Dovato without talking to your doctor, as it may get worse or harder to treat. Don't take Dovato if you're allergic to its ingredients or taking Difidilide due to serious or life-threatening side effects. If you have a rash or allergic reaction symptoms, stop Dovato and get medical help right away. Other serious or life-threatening side effects include severe liver problems and lactic acid buildup. If you're female or obese, you may be more at risk. Tell your doctor about your medicines or supplements, medical conditions, liver or kidney problems, pregnancy, breastfeeding, or planned pregnancy.
Do move forward. Do ask your doctor about fewer medicines. Do Dovato.
Why can't we say we're the best home shopping site? Because while true, you just can't say that legally. What if we said it in Spanish?
Homes.com es el mejor.
No. What if he said it?
Homes.com. It's the best.
Homes.com.
It's the best.
In the off-season, I'm a male and mom. Now I have relaxed fit hands-free Skechers slip-ins. No bending down and no touching. I kind of love not using my hands.
Come on, Andy.
I'm out the game. Try relaxed fit Skechers slip-in.
With an option like Plan B, we're in control.
Plan B temporarily delays ovulation to help prevent pregnancy before it starts.
It won't impact your future fertility, and it's safe to take anytime you need it.
Together, we've got this.
You've earned this, so hold it up high. You might not be related, but you're still family. You don't just give an extra hand. You give your whole heart. whole lot of muscle. Because it feels good to raise up the community that raised you. You are fun. This is your career. Without remarkable.
You know how to care for people in your life, but you also know it can't always be you. We get it. Find a caregiver who does too. When it's not you, it's care.com.
George Clooney in Broadway's Good Night and Good Luck, live Saturday at 7 on CNN.
So what was it actually like inside the courtroom as Vidya came face to face with his former employee who was alleging that he sexually assaulted her? Earlier, I caught up with sketch artist Christine Cornell, her eyes and ears inside the courtroom, and asked her how Mia was behaving when she took the stand.
I have never seen a witness carry themselves the way she did. She never raised her eyes at anyone. Not to the jury, not to the lawyer who was asking her questions. She was kind of like in a little withdrawn cave. And even when she passed me, which she would have to do every time she left the stand, she didn't make eye contact with anyone in the courtroom. She was just trying to get out of there quick.
And how about Diddy?
I've never seen that.
I know you were sitting close behind him. How was Diddy reacting to all of this?
Well, when she first took the stand, he was very agitated. And he moved his chair 3 times, I think, probably just wanting to make sure he had the best line of sight at her. Like he wanted to do the eyeball thing. And she wasn't having any of it. He resorted to doing what he could do, which was take notes and pass notes to his lawyers and just try to throw it in her face, which he saw over the last 2 days. Everything, that she'd ever said that was glowingly flattering him as to, counter her current claims, which is that he kind of really wreaked havoc on her life.
Well, we also saw sparks flying between the prosecution and the defense today when Mia was on the stand. You had prosecutor Maureen Comey telling the judge, quote, Mr. Steele has yelled at this witness. Mr. Steele has been sarcastic with this witness. Mr. Steele has been argumentative with this witness. What was that moment like?
Well, the judge said he didn't see it. And actually, I think they picked the best person to do that job. Mr. Steele did it in such a kind of a downplayed way that, yes, he was definitely, battling her or trying to. He called her a liar. He said, aren't you making this all up? But he was doing it like, almost trying to coax it out of her, but it wasn't happening. I watched the jury very carefully today. I had a feeling that they were also somewhat exasperated with the defense insistent on just, naysaying everything that came out of her mouth, saying, oh, you said you loved him here, oh, you said you were hard here, how do you come back, from that and call him a rapist? I do think that, okay.
Joining me now is defense attorney Joe Tacopina. He previously represented President Donald Trump in the civil lawsuit brought by E. Jean Carroll, and recently successfully represented A$AP Rocky when he was acquitted on felony gun charges back in February. Joe, thanks so much for being with us. President Trump not ruling out a pardon for Diddy if the music mogul is convicted. He told reporters that he's going to, quote, look at the facts. Given what you know about the president, do you think he really would consider a pardon?
I I wouldn't put much stock into that back and forth. That was an off-the-cuff question by a reporter. The president wasn't scripted, obviously, and he simply said, look, having been through what he's been through, 4 prosecutions in 1 year, none of which were successful, I think he's a little sensitive to, unjust prosecutions. So I think what he was simply saying was that he'd look at it. Of course, that has now become headline news and a story and everything else. One thing he was also clear about is no one's asked him on Diddy's behalf for a pardon. I think we're putting the cart way before the horse here. First of all, there needs to be a conviction. And secondly, if there is a conviction, is this sort of a case that the president would pardon and set aside a jury verdict? I just don't think so. But honestly, it's about the defense. Wait a minute. If we convict him, there's a chance that perhaps he's not even going to go to jail. So then the press is really hopeless. So let's just convict him. Because look, what's proven in this case is Diddy is a bad guy. What's proven in this case is Diddy's a criminal. Okay, in regards to domestic abuse, and in regards to drug use. What's proven in guns, and what's proven in this case is that he is a domestic batterer. Okay, all bad things. Not a good guy. What's not necessarily proven is he's a racketeer. These are bring charges, not domestic assault charges. Okay, so there's a lot of things were proven in this case. I still don't believe what's been proven at that is that he's a sex trafficker or a racketeer, and those are the big burdens that the prosecution has to meet here. So I'm not so convinced that this case is going all that well for them.
When it comes to the idea of the potential for a pardon, you're right that as far as we know, nobody from Diddy's camp has requested one. Somebody has spoken out already against one without there even being a conviction, and that's 50 Cent, arguably the greatest troll of all time. He's been sharing these videos on Instagram of Diddy appearing to criticize Donald Trump in the past. I wonder how much some of that criticism might be a factor in a decision to potentially pardon not just Diddy, but anyone else, because there is a perception, at least lately, that some of the pardons that the White House has issued are in part because of folks that have tried to curry favor with the president. What do you think?
Well, I don't think it's as simple as that. I think when he pardons someone, he believes that they've been either treated unfairly by the system or that there's a just reason to issue a pardon. Okay, I know people are quick to say, oh, he's doing favors to people who are good to him. I don't think he's making that evaluation. That being said, I do know that if someone has a lot of awful things to say about him, that is something he's going to consider when he's evaluating whether someone deserves a pardon or not. Again, this is not the sort of case, to me, that if a jury finds guilt here, that the president's likely to upset that verdict. I just don't believe he would. Again, he needs to understand the facts of this case, but knowing the facts of this case, I don't think he would based on the type of evidence that's been presented. Again, I still think there's a big void where the evidence of racketeering enterprise should be and built in this case. But look, look, this is what the prosecution's theory was all along. Make him out to be one of the worst human beings that ever walked the face of this earth. Make him out to be a very unlikable guy, a batterer of women, an abuser of people lower than he, someone who's not nice to anyone, it seems like, and someone who's willing to lose his mind over someone interfering with his relationships with women. Have they proven he's a completely insane, jealous boyfriend? Absolutely. Does that make him part of a racketeering enterprise? Boris, I guess the jury's going to have to decide that, but this case is not that simple. I mean, we're spending days in federal court talking about baby oil and applesauce on burgers. I mean, this is not the sort of stuff you hear in federal racketeering trials for the most part.
Joe Tacopina, fascinating to hear from you on this. Thanks for joining us.
Of course, thank you.
Up next, it's a question that the defense keeps bringing up. Why did Diddy's alleged victims not leave him or at least report him? We have insight tonight from one of the psychologists who testified in the Amber Heard Johnny Depp trial, and she's standing by next.
Elizabeth Wagmeister covering the Diddy trial in New York. This is CNN.
America is in a race with China. The country that dominates in both open and closed source artificial intelligence will define the future. Open source AI is making this game-changing technology available to all, while advancing America's values of freedom and innovation. China's vision is driven by censorship, oppression, and control. AI is about the future. It's about national security. It's about economic prosperity. America can't lose this race to China. We must protect our competitive edge.
This is the new Automower IQ series from Husqvarna. It's a lawnmower. And so is this. Automower IQ series navigates with satellites. The other navigates with legs. Automower IQ series keeps any lawn fresh cut every day. So you don't have to do this every weekend. This is robotic mowing, controlled with the touch of a button. Welcome to the future of mowing.
This is it. Right, yeah, that looks safe. Totally safe.
Breathe. First timer, huh? Let's pause. Sure, it looks safe, but like nearly half of all used cars, it's been in an accident. Safe. Contracts.com. You see how accidents impact price, so you don't have to overpay. Unpause.
Accidents. It was safe.
You're gonna need it.
Please.
No.
Oh, that was too long of a pause.
Shop with the facts at the all-new Carfax.com.
Since starting the farmer's dog, Bogart has lost so much weight, and he has so much more energy. It's like a pumpkin down. This is a before picture of Bogart. Such a big boy. 3-portion packs. Makes it really easy to keep him lean and healthy. And look at him now. He's like a show dog.
Vogue. Can you give Daddy a break here? He's having a hard enough time.
The Tunnel to Towers Foundation and the Congressional Medal of Honor Society recognizes valor beyond the call of duty.
Tunnel to Towers is fulfilling a promise to this nation, saying that we're going to help you. We're going to give you smart homes. We're going to pay your mortgages. And we're not forgetting you. Never forget.
There's no level of recognition that rises to what is being done by the companies that start families.
Tunnel to Towers is saying, okay, we're going to help you. You won't believe what we're going to do for you.
And that's what Tunnel to Towers does.
When it comes to clogged gutters, you might say I've seen it all. Leaves, spinners, wiffle balls, you name it. Because any gutter open to the elements is going to gather debris and clog over time. And that can cause all kinds of problems. But get leaf filtered and the problem's solved.
Leaf Filter's patented technology keeps debris out of your gutters for the life of your home.
It's dependable, proven, tested. Like me.
So when experience matters, get Leaf Filter. Call 833-LEAF-FILTER or visit leaffilter.com.
All right, get him, hon.
Take that, DirecTV pigeons, and your overpriced satellite TV.
In my day, you had to walk uphill both ways to save money.
Sounds like a lot of hills back then. Now you could just upgrade a dish and save $30 a month and get 3 months free.
3 months free?
3 months free.
Takes that for me.
Upgrade to Dish. Save up to $30 a month and now get 3 months free.
Oh, okay. Well, you chill.
For the acute treatment of migraine with or without aura in adults, Nurtec ODT can provide relief in 2 hours, which can last up to 2 days. Don't take if allergic to Nurtec ODT. Allergic reactions can occur even days after use, like trouble breathing and rash. Get help if you have trouble breathing, swelling of the face, mouth, tongue, or throat. Common side effect is nausea. Ask your doctor about Nurtec ODT.
Aiden called. Hey, damn it, we have phone sex. Oh, I faked it. I faked real sex. Welcome to my version of Happily Ever After. That is so romantic. My neighbor asked me to take off my heels. I have rights, a woman's right to choose.
When he is happy, I is safe. Those 7 words from Vidya highlight how accusers of Sean Diddy Combs say they try to placate the music mogul to protect themselves from his alleged violence and abuse. For psychologists, that testimony reveals an all too familiar cycle that someday my next guest knows all about. And evaluated Amber Heard in the Johnny Depp defamation lawsuit. Here's some of her testimony in that trial.
Borderline personality disorder is a disorder of stability. It's instability, and it's instability in personal relationships, it's instability in their emotions, it's instability in their behavior, and it's instability in their sense of self and their identity.
Clinical and forensic psychologist Shannon Curry joins us now. Shannon, thanks for being with us. So when you hear his testimony from Mia saying that Combs brainwashed her and that he used to be her protector, What comes to mind?
I'm gonna be your protector,
Well, that
bitch.
is an excellent question. And I
I'm gonna
want
be
to
your
preface that
protector,
first by
bitch.
saying that as a forensic psychologist, it is really important that I'm representing to the
I'm gonna
public
be
that
your
I'm not
protector, bitch.
opinions about anybody who is party to this trial. I have not evaluated anybody, and so I'm really here to share some of the science, some of the clinical
Not bad.
experience on these more general issues around violence, sexual harassment, sexual violence, and why people would stay in these situations without making any sort of opinion on what is really within the realm of the jury and the judge to determine about guilt. So, with that said, you know, depending on what specifically you're interested in, I understand that the brainwashing comment has gotten a lot of criticism and questioning. And I will say that for people on the outside looking in, a lot of the behavior you might see from somebody who is going through intimate partner violence or who is in some sort of a relational dynamic with somebody who is using coercive control or is psychologically violent, or it's just doing things that can be intimidating. Their behavior of the survivor, of the victim, it can seem counterintuitive. So in very established research-based ways, we know that there is the foot in the door, that these things don't start overnight, and that there really is a gradual process of coercion where
Be your
over
protector,
time you find
bitch.
yourself sort of like the old adage of a frog in boiling water.
Be your
It's
protector,
hot so
bitch.
slowly, you just don't jump out.
So then, why do some people find it so difficult to leave their alleged abusers or even to report them, especially given some testimony that we've heard from witnesses in this case, for example?
Mm-hmm. Excellent point, and that's exactly what I'm speaking to, is it can seem so counterintuitive. If you're hearing these explicitly violent accounts, it can seem like, why didn't you run screaming? And I'll tell you exactly why, because usually this starts off not like a horror show. It starts off like a fairy tale. And you are given, especially if you came from a complex traumatic background, if you had to earn love from your parents, or if you weren't ever really safe in your family of origin, you're going to take crumbs, you're going to accept crumbs. And if somebody is coming at you who has immense power, who you've idealized in the media, who seems benevolent, and then they are showering you very quickly with love, adoration, and saying that this is, you are the one for them, you are magical, you have all these wonderful qualities, you're going to probably ignore some of those initial thoughts that this is really quick, this person doesn't even know me. And if you don't even have some of that stable support, if you didn't come from a loving background, you're going to be very quick to jump right in. And it's really once you've given up a little bit of your autonomy, if you've given up your apartment, you've moved for the person, you've quit your job to work full-time for this person, that now they've got you. And you're going to see this very gradual uptick of cruelty and diminishment of your self-esteem that at first is really destabilizing and devastating because you're in the fairy tale and you can't believe that it's slipping away. And so you might actually try to grab it back. You might try to earn that love back. And if you came from a background where you had to predict your parents' moods to avoid beatings or to make sure you were safe or your siblings were safe, that comes very naturally. And another important point here is that we need to understand that there is nuance in everything, and that this relationship, when you're dealing with an abuser and a victim or a survivor, it's not black and white. It's not always horrific. There are usually genuine moments of love and connection, and so you start to live for that reinforcing prize. There's the building tension, and then suddenly you get the relief, you're close again, and then it's entrenched and you're going to stay. Now it's stronger than ever.
Shannon Curry, we very much appreciate your expertise. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Pleasure. So you can get much more on the trial by listening to Laura Coates' new CNN podcast, Trial by Jury. It's available wherever you get your podcast. Up next, we're jumping into the DeLorean to head back to the day that made tonight and the last 45 years possible.
There are a certain kind of people who are the lifeblood of democracy, never strain in their pursuit of what matters. And what matters?
5.
Honesty,
4.
facts,
3.
integrity,
2.
accuracy,
1.
truth. Good night and good luck.
Live Saturday at 7 on CNN and streaming live on Max.
What you want to do is save hundreds when Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance.
That's great, but can you ask your friend to stop digging into the green?
I can ask, but he's not going to. Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 Liberty. Life happens. Kids, pets, spills. Luckily, Stanley Steamer's deep carpet cleaning lifts dirt, allergens, and stains, leaving your home cleaner than ever. Stanley Steamer, for a cleaner and a healthier home.
Krista, it's time to fess up. About? You're over 45 and still haven't screened for colon cancer. We all knew. This is like the third year she's turned 44. Okay. I wasn't ready. Let's drink all that prep? Cancel brunch plans? Yeah.
Ask for Cologuard. It's a one-of-a-kind way to screen for colon cancer that's effective and non-invasive.
No prep, and you use it at home. False positive and negative results may occur. Those at high risk should use colonoscopy. Skip the drama. Ask your provider or request Cologuard online.
Feeling backed up and bloated? Good thing Metamucil Fiber Plus Probiotics Gummies work harder for your digestive system. With fiber to help promote gut health and probiotics to help relieve occasional bloating so you can feel your best. Metamucil Fiber Plus Probiotics Gummies.
I always wanted to know why I am the way I am. My curiosity led me to Ancestry. It was amazing to see all the traits that I've gotten from my mother in my DNA. It's a family thing. It's a family thing.
You know, we're not so different from plants, are we, Ryan?
Plants need food like people need food.
Like this really good organic plant food from Miracle Grow. These peppers look angry, Ryan. Eat them, don't just stand there.
Hey, look at that. They got one of DirecTV's new genre packs.
I think you mean genre packs.
Yeah, that's what I said. Now they can pay less and pack just the TV they want. Pick the TV they want. Yeah, now you're getting the picture. I give up.
Welcome to Roll On Girls. Taking tennis to another strategy.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
At Morgan Stanley, old school hard work meets bold new thinking. To help you see untapped possibilities and relentlessly work with you to make them real.
So 20 years until retirement. At this rate, it's probably going to be more like 40. Okay, no, way too long. Let's see how much you're spending. Download an app called Rocket. Oh, wow. I've got 3 DoorDash accounts. I totally forgot to cancel those. You know you can cancel those right in the app? Rocket Money has a clear dashboard that shows you all your income and expenses, helping you stay in control of your goals. It also shows you a list of all your subscriptions and how much you're paying, all in one place. Is this the best budgeting app? Yes. And it's called Rocket Money. Well, you're in the big leagues now.
How was your vacation then? Well, I needed one.
With your 10% loyalty program discount, that's $225 for the night.
Not bad.
$155 for the night.
Hold up. How?
It's easy when you know where to look. Trivago compares hotel prices from hundreds of sites, so you can save up to 40%. Trivago's my secret tactic. Hotel? Trivago. Evil Honduras, Searching for Spain, Sunday at 9 on CNN. Closed captioning is brought to you by Skechers Hands-Free Slip-Ins. You love this style of shoe. Now they come in hands-free Skechers Slip-Ins. Just slip in and go with no bending down and no touching. Try hands-free Skechers Slip-Ins.
Before we go, we've got an important birthday to mark. You see those bold, bright red letters on the bottom right of your screen? CNN is celebrating 45 years on the air. Our first broadcast was back in June 1980. It was a bold idea from a bold founder. Here's Ted Turner dedicating this network to a mission that launched on cable and still guides us as we enter a new era.
To act upon one's convictions while others wait
to create a positive force in a world where cynics abound, to provide information to people when it wasn't available before, to offer those who want it a choice, for the American people whose thirst for understanding and a better life has made this venture possible, for the cable industry whose pioneering spirit caused this great step forward in communication, and for those employees of Turner Broadcasting whose total commitment to their company has brought us together today, I dedicate the news channel for America, the cable news network.
Tonight on 360, a peaceful march in Boulder, Colorado, targeted in an anti-Semitic terror attack. The latest
The alleged would-be killer, and we talked to an eyewitness who came under attack. Also tonight, what this Republican senator said with
when the former president declared martial law. Plus, fleeing Mount Etna, we will show you the moment the volcano erupted and why one tour guide called it a close call.
Live from Atlanta, this is CNN Newsroom with Rosemary Church.
Good to have you with us. Well, Russian and Ukrainian officials met for a second round of peace talks in Istanbul on Monday, but the discussions ended nearly as soon as they began and without any major breakthroughs. Both sides did agree to work on a new prisoner exchange. However, on the matter of a ceasefire, statements from both delegations indicate that neither side budged on their positions. Moscow, for its part, maintained its maximalist terms, which include Ukraine's surrender of full mainland regions that Russia attempted to illegally annex soon after the invasion in 2022, and the international legal recognition of Russia's control of Crimea. That's according to details of the peace memorandum reported to Russian state media. Following Monday's meeting, the Ukrainian president revealed that his Turkish counterpart suggested a meeting between themselves, Russian President Vladimir Putin, and U.S. President Donald Trump. The direct peace talks came just one day after Ukraine's daring drone strike operation targeting airfields deep inside Russia. The strikes damaged or destroyed dozens of Russian aircraft, according to the Ukrainian security service. Nick Walsh breaks down how Ukraine carried out the operation.
A bird's-eye view of humiliation. Ukrainian drones halfway across Russian Siberia, seconds from hitting the Kremlin's most prized bombers. But the data was bad for Moscow. 117 drones hitting 41 long-range bombers across Russia, the Ukrainian security source said. Torn-up skyline here in Belaya. Exactly what Moscow dreaded, and Ukraine needed a boost to its flagging morale. Damaging Russia's war machine for sure, but maybe also its calculus of peace talks.
Our operation Spiderweb yesterday proved that Russia must feel what its losses mean. That is what will push it toward the offensive.
Ukraine hit a cutting 4,500 kilometers away from Ukraine.
Hey! Ron's about to start talking to you! Ron! Ron!
But they also
time to work, you lazy schlub! Hold on! There he is. Hey! You're picking up that trash truck, right? Get over to the recycling center on Alta Street in Chamberlain Hills. Being a trash collector's a good job, you know. Starts nice and early when you're probably still up and wired enough to work. No one's gonna search you when you're carrying around a dripping bag of mystery meat. And, you know, people throw out the weirdest things. Like Ron here. He got thrown out by his wife. Left in the street. And I picked him up and found a use for him.
Mainly.
Well, maybe I found a use for him before he got thrown out. That was part of the reason it happened. She's a drug prohibitionist, Ron. She's on the wrong side of history, but let's not sweat the details. Get us those bags, all right?
But it may also damage the Kremlin quicker away.
Tell him, Ron.
State TV did
Trucks get used by the Vagos for their collection runs. Security guards are their people. So I'm the new head. Man, take
basis for understanding of Russia by Ukraine, described by the economist as astonishing rate deep inside Russia, rewriting the rules of war. Ukraine's president says it was a show of force and not just theory. Apparently, the leader not only demonstrated to the Russian aggressors, but also
Dig out the truck. Okay. Our first collection is on Forum Drive. They're stashing bowling pills in trash bags. Pick them up like you're on a normal trash collection run. Okay, collect the bags and throw them in the compactor and move on to the next one.
Right, even the amount of resources they might be constrained to,
Yes,
if
yeah.
the U.S. pulling out or some kind of ceasefire, Ukraine can still do serious damage to Russia. But this isn't just about taking out the bomber. These attacks went deep enough into Russia that were spectacular enough and close enough to population centers that they got around the immediate straitjacket that moved into the population. So this is being talked about. People know that they can see and smell and feel the war right now the way that they found it for the last few years. And that's much more important than taking it from place.
Well, at these talks in Istanbul Monday, the Russians released their long-awaited peace memorandum, allying deadlines for an end to fighting. There is two options about it. First option, Ukraine is helping withdraw from force. That's the next one. First one there, that's the second option is described as a package deal. It's called the demobilization of the Ukrainian military and for all foreign military assistance, as well as intelligence sharing. That is quite the opening Amber claim, and it's not new. And yet that took, almost a month or so for Russia to come up with.
They're not serious about negotiating. They're using negotiations right now to buy time, to play a political game. And their intent, even before this attack, was to spend the summer pushing west into Ukraine as much as they possibly could, and to try to keep getting NATO. And they're going to do that before they get serious. Given like the
yeah, you can almost like live Ukrainian, well, video games would be training some uncertainty on go like what Ukraine might be able to do next. But will it be created without follow-on strikes by Ukraine?
Yes and no.
Next stop's an alley off this Gucci Boulevard.
Build that anticipation and that's still constitutional effect. But eventually, that is just on Russia. So yes, it's going to have to do that. It is an engagement that it's part of that.
Including this is a strike not using when Germany, by on the other allies.
Yeah, this is really technically incredible thing. To boil it back and recognize that a non-top-tier power just spent a few $1 million, $3, $4, $5, maybe $10 million, and took out over the $250 million nuclear bomb. They just took out part of the strategic triad of the largest nuclear power center. And paid full respect to what that was. And they did it without satellites, without their own space probes. They did it by piggybacking onto Russia's global cellular network and controlling those jobs from the most spectacular technology we've seen here. And so they've really changed the way all these powers have to look at force protection in the next decades.
As the economist said, rewriting the rules,
South Koreans are going to the polls right now to keep in September. Voting will last for about 7 more hours, with the results expected to occur. In the candidate, really going is it may last conservative Christian food. The move off the unconventional turmoil the big Marshall Law declaration by former President Winston Young in December. You know that last year, presenting business to Parliament denied any drop bill. Lee made headlines by live bringing himself and other lawmakers pushing our soldiers and voting COVID rule. CNN Michael live from Seoul to see Michael and say this election is all about a crucial reset of South Korea's democracy. What are the steps people are describing to your take on?
Rosemary, I think people come up to us over the past couple of weeks in Seoul and throughout the country, no matter what party they're from, they certainly want a restart to South Korea's democracy and stability. But Rosemary, when we're talking about hitting the reset button, just imagine whatever country you're watching from today. If you have had not one, but 3 acting presidents running the show within the past 6 months, that is what South Korea has had to deal with after its former president, removed from office, declared martial law when he was in the middle of the political logjam. And then when we're talking about stability, the economy is front and center. South Koreans need somebody to say yes or no to the particulars of a future trade deal with the United States, and somebody, frankly, Rosemary, to go on the world stage and reassure Democratic allies that aggressive authoritarianism, that is never going to happen. So let's take a look at those.
I'm not going to get participated in the previous democratic movement, but I felt that democracy was under threat, and that feeling quickly become and full state.
Let's talk about the candidates as we give you a quick. He is from the liberal Democratic Party. He was the former governor of Gyeonggi Province. He's a populist discussion. Also mayor of Southern City, which is a key part of South Korea's version of Silicon Valley. But he wants, similar to the Democratic Party in the United States, but liberals around the world adopt spending on R&D, research development, AI as well. In the past, Rosemary had likened himself to a South Korean version of Bernie Sanders, who wanted to do a universal basic income to start with population of farmers and then expand to the entire country. Policy, strong support, with Moscow and with Pyongyang, which is a departure from the past president. Going on to the conservative candidate, wrapping up, Kim Moon-soo. He's expected to come short in second place. He was a former labor minister under former President Bush, and so going to Republican candidates, he's passed deregulation as the main means of starting the economy. Certainly wants a fair hug of a relationship with the United States. It's going to talk about paying for escaping on the Christian and wants to keep a tough stance against North Korea, which is in keeping with the former president and his politics. So, Rosemary, after midnight local time, maybe around 2 a.m., you should know who is going to embark the ship once again, and then in the morning, around 7 to 9 a.m., the winner will be certified by the National Election Commission, and then South Korea moves on from there. Again, reassuring the world that it is in a new chapter, trying to provide a mark of stability.
We'll be watching to see what happens, Michael Uriel, live in Seoul. Well, the first details are emerging in what authorities are calling a targeted anti-Semitic attack. Ahead, the suspect has told authorities and a look at the charges he faces.
Okay, good. We got the Molly.
Are you sitting right now? It could be harming your health. Back pain, stress, and serious health risks can build up from sitting too long. But motion changes everything. Introducing Ready Rocker with its patented Rock Perfect design that supports your spine, as it helps improve posture, relieve back pain, boost circulation, and release endorphins.
Can truly improve life. Sitting is the new smoking. A sedentary lifestyle, whether you're sitting at a desk or in a vehicle all day, is not good for the body to just stay in that same position. And that's why the Ready Rocker is so effective. The rocking motion constantly keeps you active and helps you ease pain, reduces stress. It actually releases endorphins in the brain. It's completely
All the time. When the Ready Rocker,
You're lucky I'm in a good
and I'm in a better mood. I think it's everywhere.
I can literally feel the stress being taken out of the spot. My back stopped hurting, my stomach felt better, the stress went down. Now you can join the free music. Other devices like video. Get 20% off your ticket. You really want to get relief. Last week at the latest nutrition.
Ready Rocker, and one rocket. Call 800-774-4128 or go to GetReadyRocker.com. That's 800-774-4128 or go to GetReadyRocker.com. Call now.
Brooke Ray volunteer mom to 4 boys who make a lot of dirty clothes. I dread lifting those heavy detergent containers and the big mess they make. Well, check out my latest life hack. Happy Hour laundry sheets. They're lightweight, compact, and mess-free. Just pull one out and drop it in. No more pouring or measuring. All you need is one sheet for the entire load. The same as this full cup of detergent. The secret is a powerful cleaning formulation embedded in the fibers. The whole sheet quickly dissolves in water. Watch this. I'll put a sheet in. It works in hot or cold water. See how fast it dissolves? Look at this stain. There's no wasting time with screen treaters because Happy Hour has a built-in stain remover that breaks up stains fast. The formula has a color protector. Plus, it's hypoallergenic and perfect for sensitive skin. And it's eco-friendly, so plastic containers like this won't end up in landfills. But it's still a powerful stain fighter and works in all types of washing machines. This shirt was stained with cherry juice. I'll place one sheet on top and add water. In just seconds, the stain is gone. Check out what people said outside of grocery stores. These are so heavy to lug around. I would love my sheet messy. These small sticks get so skinny containers first. Whoa, I think that's kind of easy. We're gonna get something. It's time to lighten the load, so you start the hour. Call, go online now to get Happy Hour laundry sheets. Enough for 120 loads for just $14.99 with free shipping. That's right. Call now or go to our website and get a full month of Happy Hour for 50% off our regular price. Happy Hour ships right from the USA, and I guarantee Happy Hour laundry sheets will make laundry days easier or you'll get your money back. Call or go online to get yours today.
Call 1-800-960-9570 or go online to buyhappyhour.com. So call 1-800-960-9570 or go to buyhappyhour.com. Do you have a box of videotapes, film rolls, photos that aren't ratings? Legacy Box professionally converts them to DVDs, thumb drives, or the box. Legacy Box is simple and safe, with over 1 million satisfied customers. Visit legacybox.com.
I'm Larry Noel in Nairobi, Kenya, and this is CNN.
The suspect in the violent attack on a Jewish community event in Boulder, Colorado, is charged with a federal hate crime. Authorities accuse Mohammed Sabri Solomon of using incendiary devices in news. They say he's been planned for a year. He's also facing 16 counts of attempted first-degree murder, him with his wife and his son. Currently, I was reported setting people on fire. Whether there's at least one party rolling around in flames. The flamethrower burned for 45 days south in Solomon, burned at least 12 people at a weekly Jewish gathering in downtown Boulder as they peacefully marched, calling for the release of Israeli hostages in Gaza. According to law enforcement, Solomon sprayed gasoline while holding a lighter in the direction of the marchers Sunday afternoon while yelling, "Free Palestine." The FBI is investigating the case as an act of terrorism.
Everything okay? The Molotov cocktail.
Stay safe,
Had
boss.
2 more in his hand. And he was holding them, and he was yelling, and he was screaming at everybody. I think he was saying, "You're killing my people."
An elderly Holocaust survivor was among the victims. Law enforcement says 2 Molotov cocktails were thrown and 16 more were found at the scene.
Mr. Solomon stated that he had been planning this attack.
Got some cool stuff here for you.
And he acted because he hated what he called
What can I get you?
the Zionist Jews.
During the attack, Solomon took off his vest and shirt as they caught fire, according to witnesses.
Stay strapped.
According to an affidavit, he told the FBI he wanted to kill all Zionist people and wished they were all dead, stating he would do it again. Solomon is in the country illegally, according to Homeland Security. He is an Egyptian national and had lived in Kuwait and applied for asylum but was denied a visa. DHS said he entered the country in August 2022 as a non-immigrant visitor. He was granted a 2-year work authorization in March 2023 that has since expired. Solomon, according to Mohammed Suleiman, Solomon is facing 16 counts of first-degree attempted murder, as well as multiple counts of assault and felony use of incendiary devices, among other state and federal charges. Recent anti-Semitic incidents
The Boulder District Attorney listed a very long list of charges that all the facing at the state court alone. In total, the state charges would result in a maximum sentence of 34
Their families in Gaza mourning loved ones killed while countless life-saving aid for the unit itself found the witnesses.
Can break off and end up in your food, putting your family in danger. Stop and start grilling safely, America, with horsepower Vidya, the new grill cleaning brush that automatically removes burnt, stuck-on debris, fat, easy, and bristle-free. While the grill is cold, just press on, and Vidya blasts to make charred meat, sticky sauces, messy oils, and more. Vidya works on all types of grill grates, even messy park grills, go from disaster to sparkling grilling master. Now all your food has a delicious, mouth-watering grill taste. No more squabbing over a hot grill or dangerous bristles. The secret, our chainmail link system, driven by a powerful high-torque motor that's built for a lifetime of punishing abuse. And it's
All right, let's talk.
won't pop this delicate balloon. Try that with your wire brush. And look, it cleans the top and side
Keep
at
your
the
eyes
same
open.
time. We burn cheese, onions, beef, and sticky barbecue sauce. Then use Gideon to blast away the grime in no time. The best part, the brush head is dishwasher safe and reusable, making it the last true brush you'll ever need. Go online and get your horsepower Gideon for storage straps to lock in free tariff pricing and receive fast, free shipping. It's even rechargeable, and it's a bright LED light and really nice. But hurry, this could be your last chance to lock in this free tariff price. Giddy up is available to ship from our U.S. warehouse, and it's quick criminal free. So don't wait. Start living safely, America, with Giddy Up.
The order call 1-800-247-1796 or visit mygiddyup.com. So call 1-800-247-1796 or visit mygiddyup.com now.
What's a salad without cheese and the Caesar dressing? Man,
If
isn't
you
designed for me like a
was not
fucking rat.
involved and you don't have an attorney, don't go it alone. We have legal professionals standing by to let you know if your case is potentially worth. Hi, I'm Paula Madison, Social Law Firm. There are people of you at home.
Italian rights. Well, politicians said anyone who's been injured in an accident, it is not your fault. You do not have an attorney. Give us a call right now. We have a professional standing by ready to answer all.
Not today.
to flee for their lives on Monday has ended and the lava is cooling. Mount Etna began producing explosions overnight and was spewing hot lava until late evening. CNN's Melissa Bell has more.
Here to see a force of nature. Hikers and tourists were surprised by a massive eruption on Italy's Mount Etna early Monday and sent fleeing for safety. A plume of hot gases, ash and rock billowing high into the air above them. This is what a close call looks like, the tour guide's video says. It arrived all at once. An immense smoke, an immense roar. The eruption began overnight. Geologists say preliminary observations show a, quote, partial collapse of the northern flank of Etna's southeastern crater, producing this enormous cloud seen here in a time-lapse video. Everyone on the volcano has been evacuated safely, local authorities say. Hikers are being told to avoid the summit area until further notice. Etna is a popular tourist destination on the island of Sicily, visited by 1.5 million people a year, many of whom trek almost all the way to its summit. It also happens to be one of the most active volcanic sites in
Settlers of Pawnee did to my ancestors, taking their land. Now who wants to rock? This was a day. Now who wants to rock? This.
How are things going over in your firm? Me? Good. Listen, you guys need anybody? I get the accent he's aiming at. I just know it. They're after my blood. Look, I'll just email you my resume. Maybe you can just casually drop it on HR's desk. Thanks, man. Bye.
Scrub a dub dub, scrub rub a dub scrub. We did it, Joe. We did it. Wait, no we didn't.
Where did you come from?
I don't know where you been. Oh, that's so cool.
You're fine, right?
Mm.
Hey, where are you? Why you ain't pick up when I called you earlier? You didn't get my text? What text? The one where I sent you a pic of my big titties like you asked me to. You thought it was a picture of two new puppies. I meant puppies, as in titties.
We did it, Joe. We did it.
من أجمل وألطف الكائنات موجودة في كرة الأرض.
That's a fucking lizard. Thanks for the stream. Hope you have a good night. Well, thank you, WJW, WYJW, excuse me. Mm-mm-mm. Okay. Good night. All right. Well, I will see y'all, I think, I don't know, maybe tomorrow? I have things to do tomorrow night, so I don't know. We'll see what happens. But definitely Wednesday for sure. So y'all have a great, what is Tuesday? Y'all have a great Tuesday. Get some tacos or Thai food and have fun. Be safe. I will see you soon.